Drink Pepsi, a chance to drive home a $32 million fighter jet. This is the most insane marketing in the history of Pepsi. Just exchange this prize with 16 million bottles of Pepsi. The threshold is indeed exaggerated, because they never thought that someone could actually do it. But it turns out, never underestimate young people. So how the hell did this guy do it? Recently, Netflix made this real story into a documentary. Pepsi, Where's My Jet? Invite back the participants from both sides. Truly restore the whole story of this marketing tragedy. The story happened in 1995. The original intention of Pepsi is also very simple: just drink Pepsi and earn points, then use the points to redeem peripheral products. To promote this event, they took a promotional ad. It was normal at first, just some trendy items such as shirts, hats, and sunglasses. But in order to gain attention, in the end came a little extra creative. So a fighter jet was dropped on the school. Ordinary people look at it with a smile and pass by. But our protagonist John Leonard is not an ordinary person. When John first saw this ad, got serious right away. He went to check, how much does a fighter jet cost? Knowing that it's about $32 million, John's first reaction was that it must cost much less to get 7 million Pepsi points. The chance to change the destiny is now in front. John felt the urgency. From then on, he saved everything, bought Pepsi like crazy, moving home one after another. But only a week later, he found that this method is not feasible, because even if drink 190 bottles of Pepsi a day, the whole family will have to drink for a full 100 years. John knew he needed a lot of money urgently to buy out these Pepsi all at once, in order to catch up with the redemption time within a year. He thought of a friend Todd. Todd is 20 years older than John. He is a businessman, and the two met when they were climbing mountains. Both are adventurous. When Todd saw that ad, he also got interest, repeated to confirm hundreds of times. The 7 million point and fighter jet are clearly written, and what's more, there is no disclaimer at the bottom of the ad screen. After Todd promised to help, John did the math for him. A dozen of Pepsi redeems 5 points. 7 million points needs 1 point for million dozen of Pepsi. It takes 6 large warehouse for storage. Also need to hire staff to be responsible for purchasing, shipping, and collecting points, about 45 people, and takes 3 months to complete the entire task. The plan seems perfect, but Todd still pointed out a few pitfalls. First, is it legal for ordinary people to own fighter jet? John checked a lot of information, finally called the Pentagon and asked, and the answer is, as long as there is no weaponry on board, then don't break any law. The next is the realization: what should they do with this jet after get it? John suggested that it could be rented to someone else, for example, doing air shows, shooting commercials, making movies, etc. Okay, barely can convince Todd. But coming to the third question, it is also the deadliest difficulty. If the plan starts, money has been invested, but what if the Pepsi campaign is over? That stopped John. After all, no one wants to buy second-hand Pepsi, and that's 16 million bottles. Huge practical problem completely shattered John's dream of getting rich. He went back to school depressed, can't think of a better way, but it was still on his mind. Is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity going to waste like this? At this time, John accidentally opened a prize catalog of the prize redemption activity. It turned out that the answer was on the surface of the mystery. That's all. He found a breakthrough. He found the fatal bug of this prize redemption from Pepsi's prize catalog. It turned out that points can be bought with money, and you can buy as much as you want for 10 cents per point. In other words, you can buy 7 million points for only $700,000, enough to trade in for that jet. After discovering the bug, John immediately notified Todd. The two took action right away, sent a check for $700,000 directly to Pepsi, clearly said to exchange for that jet. Day after day, John was at home to wait for Pepsi's response, but after a long time, no news at all. Actually, when PepsiCo received the check, the whole team was completely dumbfounded, immediately had an emergency meeting to discuss solution, because they all thought the ad was obviously a joke. How can anyone really want to exchange for a fighter jet? It was suggested that, better take the check, than just send John a model of the fighter jet used in the ad. However, this proposal was quickly rejected, because it is clearly written in the advertisement that it is a fighter jet, instead of a model. Soon, John received a letter from Pepsi. He carefully opened the envelope. There were only 2 Pepsi coupons in it. Yes, Pepsi planned to default. Firstly, they apologized, then said the fighter jets in the ad were just a joke. After seeing the reply, John and Todd were very angry. They immediately hired a lawyer, then sent a letter to Pepsi, strongly urged Pepsi to fulfill its promise quickly. Not long after, jet didn't come but court summon. A lawsuit was filed against John by Pepsi, and John took them to court too. Both parties were plaintiffs and also defendants. The funniest thing was, since then, this Pepsi ad has changed, from the original 7 million points to 700 million points, added a line below, just kidding. Todd thought. Pepsi apparently realized they made a mistake, and they felt guilty now. Soon, PepsiCo said they were willing to settle out of court with John for $1 million. That was a lot of money, although for Todd, $1 million was nothing. But for an ordinary college student like John, it was a chance to change his life, so Todd left the choice to John. However, John directly rejected Pepsi, because what he wanted was not 1 million, but a real fighter jet. At that moment, everyone in Pepsi is wilting. John hired another lawyer with more expertise in the area, prepared to confront at court against PepsiCo. The lawyer is smart. The first thing is to expose it, ask the media to guide the audience's public opinion. Sure enough, this topic is very hot soon. With the ferment of public opinion, a large consortium like PepsiCo was also doing its best to prevent John from frequently appearing on various TV shows. At the same time, John's lawyer has been quietly investigating Pepsi. Found out they put a disclaimer on the same ad in Canada. In the United States, there was no description at all. Pepsi knew clearly. Some people took jet prize for real, intentionally led viewers to believe it is true. Suspicion of expanding marketing influence. Besides, the lawyer also discovered that Pepsi had a very big marketing scandal a few years ago, even sparked a national unrest. Do you know why Pepsi was so hated in the Philippines? Here's another Pepsi marketing scandal. Because of a small cap, it caused a national unrest. 1992. In order to seize the market, Pepsi launched cap opening giveaway in the Philippines. Each opened cap was stamped with a 3-digit number, corresponding to different nature of bonus, similar to buying lottery tickets. Biggest prize up to 1 million pesos, equivalent to 100 times the local wage level. As soon as the event was launched, Pepsi was snapped up by the whole people. Many families who were not rich held the dream of getting rich. Pepsi's market share soared from 4% to 20%. On the day of the draw, the moment when a host on TV read 349 would be the 1 million prizes winning numbers, the whole Philippines was boiling. But when the winners came to PepsiCo to claim the prize with the bottle cap, only to find out that the number of people who came to redeem the prize was as high as 400,000. In fact, there were more than 800,000 bottle caps that won the lottery. Pepsi was completely shocked, because there should only be 2 bottle caps for 349 in the original plan. What the hell happened? After checking, it turned out to be a computer error that caused it, and Pepsi's handling method was also reckless. It was impossible to give all 1 million. Only part of the funds can be added. $18 average per share. Got the news? Angry people rushed to the Pepsi hall to wreak havoc, pushed trucks, threw stones, even detonated the incendiary bomb. The situation was completely out of control. In the end, it was the government who finally settled the matter, but before that, several lives were lost. From now on, the number 349 has become synonymous with scammers in the Philippines. People have completely lost all trust in Pepsi. John's lawyer didn't know until he read the report. Pepsi really was a habitual offender. It was exactly the same as this fighter jet incident. To put pressure on Pepsi, they did several very provocative posters, threatening PepsiCo to make compensation as soon as possible, like incendiary bomb made out of Pepsi, and used Pepsi's logo as eye bruises. They even planned to put these advertisements on the opposite side of the Pepsi building, designed to disgust them, and John intends to let Todd continue funding it. But hanging a billboard would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, at least. Besides, if did this, 100% would be sued by Pepsi. All of these threats have deviated from Todd's original intention. Besides, it was really unnecessary to go to jail for this matter, so he finally decided to quit. Thereafter, in this outrageous case, the two sides began a protracted tug-of-war. Finally, after 3 years, the judge made the final verdict. The reality was always cruel. John lost the case, and didn't get a penny in the end. The reason for the judge's decision was that no reasonable person would think an inside ad was credible. For such a result, John actually expected, but he always felt that the winner should be him.
The long-tenured federal judge's perspective, it may not have seemed like a legitimate offer. But I can tell you, millions of my peers saw the commercial and thought it was an offer.
John's life gradually returned to peace, but the impact of this case continues. He was written into the textbook, become a classic case of the boundaries of contract law. The story of this documentary also ends here. Pepsi looks like winning the lawsuit, but also lost the trust of the public. Perhaps it is because of repeated similar marketing scandals. To this day, they are still at a disadvantage against Coca-Cola, while John and Pepsi fought each other for many years. But he's always been a fan of Pepsi. Pepsi thought he was only in it for the money, but John knows it was not all about the money, it was more like a dream. This was why he resolutely rejected the $1 million settlement fee. John is like the boy who wants to slay the dragon. If it has been decided that the target is a dragon, even if he is going to die, he must also die on the way to slay the dragon.